Let us now move our attention to the concept of Shiv. Although the origins of the deity himself are difficult to trace, Shiva, as the god of death, is a Puranic concept. That being said, ambiguous parallels to the deity can be found as early as the Indus Valley culture in India. However, the correlation of these parallels to all that Shiva philosophically embodies in the later scriptures is more circumstantial than factual. Philosophically, in the Hindu tradition, the deity is revered in diverse embodiments and forms, from the destroyer of this sphere that humans live in to the purifier of the world, the lord of mankind and animals. The lingam or the phallus that is associated with Shiva is considered to be a symbolic representation of his generative power. This is characterized by severe self-discipline and a follower of ascetic life. Shiva is regarded as the great meditator, abstained from all the worldly pleasures. The Shaivite philosophical and theological systems now include the Shaiv Siddhant, the Shaiv Advait and the Pashupat school among others. All these serve as the basis for interpretation of Shiva in various cultures that we will see through this course. With the onset of Tantrism in Hindu culture, erotic depictions of Shiva and the presence of fertility symbols in Shaivite sculptures became widespread. This became prominent in the art of the Rajputs, as is evident not just from the sculptures of Khajuraho set of temples, but also from temples of later periods such as the Sun Temple in Konark, Odisha. We are also going to discuss this in excessive detail through our course. However, let us leave these discussions until a later day in the course. For now, let us just summarize what we've learnt so far. The first thing that we learnt is that although associated to be Shiva in a synonymic form, Rudra is a different deity altogether. Indeed, the Vedic Rudra is much more austere in form and is only the embodiment of disease, death and destruction. We need to bear this in mind when we study the sculptures that come before us. Another thing we know now is that although phallic representations come from a very early time in history, not all of them can be said to be embodiment of Shiva. This is something that we need to remember as students of archaeology, specifically iconography and history. Phallic symbols are a direct indication of fertility cult, the details of which we will be divulging in a little later on in the course. However, for the purpose of convenience and also for the purpose of simplifying things in the history books, we are going to discuss things such as the Mohenjo-daro horned deity seal, which is understood to be Proto-Shiva. We're also going to talk about the phallus symbols found from Indus Valley civilization, the concept of Rudra, at least in the Vedic philosophy, and then understand how Shiva embodies all of this, but is distinct from the earlier implications. You must always remember that as a religion develops, it gains assimilative powers. So, understanding that something is a foreign concept or understanding that something may be derived from a different theory altogether is perfectly normal. Hinduism, after all, as a religion, has always been known for its assimilative powers and not for its power of segregation. We therefore encourage you to keep an open and scientific mind and discover more with us as we go beyond the realms of iconography and into understanding these sculptures archaeologically.